we're going to move on, folks. So this is a related story, obviously, to the banning of X in Brazil. Robert Reich thought he should write an op-ed about how to rein in Elon Musk. Elon Musk is out of control. Here's how to rein him in, by great liberal thinker, progressive thinker, Robert Reich. Elon Musk is rapidly transforming his enormous wealth. He's the richest person in the world into a huge source of unaccountable political power that's now backing Trump and other authoritarians around the world. Musk owns X, formerly known as Twitter. He publicly endorsed Donald Trump last month. Before that, Musk helped form a pro-Trump super PAC. Meanwhile, the former U.S. president has revived his presence on the X platform. Musk just hired a Republican operative with expertise in field organizing to help with get out the vote efforts on behalf of Trump. All right, so far this sounds like a person exercising a political right, but let's see what's the issue here. Musk reposted a faked version of Kamala Harris's first campaign video with an altered voice track sounding like Harris and saying she doesn't know the first thing about running the country and is the ultimate diversity hire. Musk tagged the video amazing. It got hundreds of millions of views so far. Okay, so what he's referring to is the parody video that he's referring to as a faked video, which we did a segment on this. Russ and Kit did a segment on this while I was on leave. There was an obvious parody video. This is what's just so sleazy about the way they argue. I mean, you're calling that a faked version. It was a parody. That was satire. That was satire. It's not a faked version. It was not a dishonest post.
And as soon as you start reading this, you just picture all of the Kool-Aid drinking libs who read that and just absorb it without question.
Exactly.
These people are so fucking brainwashed. They could see that video and still accept this framing. It's an obvious parody. It's not like it's revealed as parody 60 seconds in. It's like 10 seconds in.
It's obvious. It's the most obvious thing in the world
that this is a parody.
The Michigan Secretary of State has accused the Musk-supported America PAC of tricking people into sharing personal data. Although the PAC's website promises to help users register to vote, it allegedly asks users in battleground states to give their names and phone numbers without directing them to a voter registration site, and then uses that information to send them anti-Harris and pro-Trump ads. I mean, I'm on a million phone and email text lists that I didn't sign up for. I mean, this is nothing out of the ordinary either.
Yes. How about the fact that I keep reporting these fucking things as junk, and then I get more from another phone number from the same organization?
I mean, that happens all the time.
Kamala Harris. How about that?
Yeah. No, that happens all the time. That always happens. According to a new report from the Center for Countering Digital Hate, Musk himself has posted 50 false election claims on X so far this year. They've got a total of 1.2 billion views. None of them had a community note from X's supposed fact-checking system. Evidence is mounting that Russia and other foreign agents are using X to disrupt this year's presidential race, presumably in favor of Trump. Musk has done little to stop them.
There's a country that we have a lot more reliable evidence is trying to interfere in our presidential election. What country could that be?
Yeah.
That he neglects to mention here. We got a play submission about like a Russian troll interfering in the presidential election, but I guess the adorable punchline is that he really wants to move to America. And I'm tempted to say we'll produce it if you make him a Mossad agent.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Just change it up. We have an idea. We have a note here. Exactly.
Yeah, it is our note. Make him a Mossad agent.
Meanwhile, Musk is supporting right-wing causes around the world. In the UK, far-right thugs burned, looted, and terrorized minority communities as Musk's X spread misinformation about a deadly attack on schoolgirls. Musk not only allowed instigators of this hate to spread these lies, but he retweeted and supported them. At least 8 times in the past 10 months, Musk has prophesied a future civil war related to immigration. When anti-immigration street riots occurred across Britain, he wrote, "Civil war is inevitable." Now, look, fair is fair. As I've said, the fact that Twitter is less censorious than these other platforms means bullshit does spread, and it does make it harder to determine what's real and what's fake It can be done, though. We do it. That is the price of living in a free speech society. And listen, we are no defenders of Elon Musk in general. But when you look at what this guy now puts forward as a prescription for what ought to be done to him, this is pretty terrifying. So he keeps going. The European Union.
It's also so selective. If you want to argue that billionaires should not have this kind of control over speech, over discourse, I'm all for it. But you're not talking about that. You're not talking about Tim Cook. Maybe they'll start talking about Mark Zuckerberg now that he told the truth. They've laid off him for a while. They were putting the screws to him, and that's why he changed up the Facebook algorithm. Now who knows what he's going to do? Why aren't you talking about Bill Gates? Why was a guy that's not even in the government the main spokesperson aside from Fauci about the vax and COVID? Who the fuck is Bill Gates? I didn't elect Bill Gates. Bill Gates wasn't appointed. Why did Bill Gates have that kind of influence over the discourse? Why was Bill Gates being brought on TV to dictate and define public policy? You have something
very
to say
few
about
op-eds written about how that was suspect.
Bill Gates lied. He went on TV and lied to defend the patents. He said that the
Indians
third
couldn't make
world
them
country,
right.
they couldn't make it. It's total bullshit. It's a country of freaking a billion people. Of course, they have factories that can make a vaccine.
The European Union Commissioner Thierry Breton sent Musk an open letter reminding him of EU laws against amplifying harmful content that promotes hatred, disorder, incitement of violence, or certain instances of disinformation, and warning that the EU will be extremely vigilant about protecting EU citizens from serious harm. Musk's response was a meme that said, "Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face." Elon Musk calls himself a free speech absolutist, but has accepted over 80% of censorship requests from authoritarian governments. I don't doubt that that's true. He is a big fucking hypocrite. 2 days before the Turkish elections, he blocked accounts critical of the president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And he also silenced the uncommitted account during the DNC. He just suspended that account for that period of days. Oh, yeah. No, he's a giant piece of shit. But he's not a piece of shit who should be arrested, as Robert Reich puts in item 3 of 6. Okay, so here are his ideas. He may be the richest man in the world. He may own one of the world's most influential social media platforms. But that doesn't mean we're powerless to stop him. Here are 6 ways to rein in Musk. Boycott Tesla. All right, fair enough. You got a right to do that. Advertisers.
Okay. And that has been one of my W's this year.
Yeah, Russ has predicted that the libs would boycott Tesla.
And that's happening. And particularly they're getting killed with Gen Z. Gen Z doesn't see Tesla as a desirable brand.
They also probably can't afford them.
Well,
they are expensive.
There is that. But yeah, can you show up in your lib neighborhood now driving a new Tesla?
Yeah, or one of those trucks. Worse.
Yeah.
Advertisers should
truck,
boycott
forget
X.
about it.
Yeah, the truck. Forget about that.
They'll make you move. The homeowners association will start a petition.
Yeah, exactly. Advertisers should boycott X. All right, fair enough. I mean, you're within your rights to call for those things. But here, regulators around the world, item number 3, should threaten Musk with arrest if he doesn't stop disseminating lies and hate on X. So that's the heading, and then here's the paragraph. Global regulators may be on the way to doing this, as evidenced by the August 24th arrest in France of Pavel Durov, who founded the online communications tool Telegram, which French authorities have found complicit in hate crimes and disinformation. Like Musk, Durov has styled himself a free speech absolutist. Okay, so that is giving away the game right there. He is saying governments around the world, which don't have this annoying obstacle in their way called a First Amendment in a codified constitution, should take advantage of the fact that free speech is not codified in those countries and arrest him. Unfortunately, we can't do that here because we have a First Amendment. He's literally just saying countries that aren't hampered by a free speech clause in their constitution should arrest him. Item 3 of 6 just kind of slips that in there, as if that's not extremely draconian.
All right, so yeah, pudgy, avuncular little Robert Reich, he's a fascist. He's a fascist. These people are fascists. Our friends who are always saying, liberals, scratch a liberal, you'll get a fascist. Here's your proof. Who's more of a like squishy, progressive, non-threatening lib than Robert Reich?
Yeah,
And
here you go.
look at what he is prepared to advocate for with absolutely no look. Robert Reich, he's not a stupid guy. Some of these people are just flat out stupid. He's not stupid. He certainly has the capacity to think through the implications of what he's suggesting. This is how thoroughly these people believe in their divine moral right. These people would no more question their right to arrest their political opponents than a Catholic would question their right to run an inquisition in the 17th century.
Yes. Now, he's not done. This one is also very troubling. In the United States, the Federal Trade Commission should demand that Musk take down lies that are likely to endanger individuals, and if he does not, sue him under Section 5 of the FTC Act. Now, watch how he phrases this here. Musk's free speech rights under the First Amendment don't take precedence over the public interest. 2 months ago, the U.S. Supreme Court said federal agencies may pressure social media platforms to take down misinformation, a technical win for the public good. Now, let me reread that because he phrases that very, very sneakily and inaccurately. 2 months ago, the U.S. Supreme Court said federal agencies may pressure social media platforms to take down misinformation. That is not what the court ruled. What the court ruled is that the government communicating with social media companies does not constitute pressure. That's why they ruled the way they did.
Right.
They did not say the government has the right to coerce social media platforms into censoring on their behalf. They said that the case could not be made that the simple act of communicating with these platforms was, by its nature, coercive. So he's wrong about that. He's being very, very sleazy in how he phrases that.
Well, he's been sleazy through this entire article.
Yeah. He says, the Supreme Court said that, pressuring social media is no problem. No, that is not what they ruled. That they wrongfully ruled, in my opinion, obviously, that communication did not constitute pressure. But no, the Supreme Court does not give the government a green light to outright pressure social media companies. If the Supreme Court thought they were pressuring them, they would say that that is not constitutional. Okay. And then a couple more items here. The U.S. government and we taxpayers have additional power over Musk if we're willing to use it. The U.S. should terminate its contracts with him, starting with Musk's SpaceX. And obviously,
I know at least 2 astronauts who would not advocate for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And obviously, point number 6, the most obvious one, make sure Musk's favorite candidate for president is not elected. Okay, so those are all your prerogative. But that just pretty blatant and bad faith misrepresentation of the Missouri versus Biden ruling, as well as just the outright calling for his arrest in countries not burdened by a First Amendment, that tells you everything you need to know. They don't like free speech. They like censorship. Liberals try to argue around this all the time. Well, these companies are private companies. They could do what they want. Okay, so then are you a libertarian when it comes to censorship? Because you're not a libertarian on other things. Robert Reich is not a libertarian in other ways.
It depends on who owns the platform.
Right. Well, yeah, it depends on everything. That's what I mean. They like restricting speech. They like censorship. They're for it. Period. Don't let them try and steer the conversation into this subtlety or that subtlety. They like censorship. They wish they could censor more. And there's Robert Reich saying outright, the First Amendment is an obstacle. It is a burden that we bear. It's not a privilege to live in a country with a codified First Amendment. And as we will see in our next story, that First Amendment gets thrown out at the convenience of the government when they want to. So even the First Amendment is not a cure-all, but it's an obstacle. And Robert Reich laments that obstacle and encourages countries in which that obstacle does not exist to exploit that lack of an obstacle to arrest Elon Musk. And here we have it. Brazil bans the app, and now people who try and work around it, they're threatening with like a $10,000 fine. Whether that's enforceable or not, I'm not sure. I'm not a tech guy. Maybe Jake could tell us about that. But there you have it. Yes, scratch a liberal, a fascist bleeds.
Well, they also demonstrated in Brazil that government politicians, because they have an election coming up, they're still using X.
Right.
So they're
Yes.
using a VPN.
Right.
So is he going to find them? Is he going to find these members of the government who continue to use X? Yeah, look, if you really look at what's going on, the system, the establishment has not been under this kind of pressure in many decades, not since the great upheavals of the 60s and 70s. They haven't faced this kind of a threat to their legitimacy in a very long time. After from the Reagan Revolution on, basically the whole country went to sleep. The radicals were just exhausted and burned out, and everyone just chased the dollar, and that was it. And oh, wasn't that silly with the bell bottoms? And you had shows like 30 something and movies like The Big Chill, reducing it all to a silly youthful excess fashion statement, and really massaging the whole history of that period so that people would understand it in terms of sex, drugs, and lifestyle transformations, with almost no discussion of the class elements of that period, discussions of economics, labor exchanges that were set up in an attempt to subvert capitalism. You ever see that in any of those shows about the boomers?
Right.
You never saw any of that. You would think that wasn't going on, but it was. It was. Is the first time you've had that kind of pressure on the system in a very long time. And this is the part I have to be careful how we say. Make no mistake, people get deleted. All right. What, you think just Boeing does it? Think it's just Boeing? Right. People, things happen, man. Things happen. Look at all the Black Panthers who got railroaded into a lifetime in prison. Look what happened to Fred Hampton. Like when capitalism is under pressure, the underlying fascist nature of the capitalist system comes to the surface. It's always there, but they play good cop until they can't. And then the bad cop comes out if you put them under pressure. You can have free speech as long as they don't feel like it's effective. Right. As long as they don't feel like it's going to have an impact, you could say whatever you want. And we're seeing right now something we haven't seen in a very long time. We haven't seen the system take off its mask and start openly violating people's rights in broad daylight this way in quite a while, and it's not going to get better.
Please clap.